Boom shakalaka.
What's up, fellas?
Hey boys, how's isolation treating everyone?
Couldn't be better, you know. Loving it.
It's pretty good, man. Pornhub Premium for free for the month.
You look like you've beefed up. Not just your arms either.
Just my right arm.
Yeah.
But if you got on that,
I
so
did see it, but you have to put your card in. Sort of worried me.
you don't have to put your card in.
What?
No, you click through and it just asks for your email address, and you don't have to put your card in at all, and you get a month. It's called Stay at Home Hub.
That's sweet.
It's
I'll be on
sick,
that when I
man.
get home. Don't worry about that.
So that's why I was so pumped about it, because usually it says for the month, and then because you forget about it and gets your card details and starts charging. But this just email, then you verify your email and then straight onto it,
Sweet.
which is one of the
Genius.
silver linings of this whole bad
Yeah,
thing. But
yeah. Doesn't get much better than free porn.
yeah,
All
but how
right.
have you boys been going? Before we get into footy, how have you been going?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Get to go to work, unlike some poor people.
Same. I'm just glad I still got a job. Still kicking on.
Yeah.
So, well,
Get to be doing some work, so that's good.
yeah. It's just sort of struggling on the haven't been doing too much at the start. I started trying to keep fit, trying to get out, but I've just been the last week probably just lazy. Haven't got out, haven't gone for my runs, haven't been doing any workouts. Starting to feel a bit gross, a bit tired all the time, a bit chubby, but you know.
It's hard too
we'll get
because
there.
you come out too keen, and this ends up lasting for 6 weeks, 2 months or more. Are you going to be able to maintain getting in that rhythm of, training 2 or 3 times a week? You've got to have a rest,
Yeah.
unless you're Freedy, who works out 2 or 3 times a day. But other people,
But he also supplements his energy with other substances.
yes,
So
that
And also,
helps.
Pornhub's been sapping me, bro. Oi, but Dano, before we get into it, bro, you would definitely fucking this guy, eh?
oh my
That's
god,
you,
everyone's-
yeah. The
Fuck, I've
Tiger
been getting-
King.
I've
There
been
are that
getting
many
ragged on the
photos.
day.
There are that many photos of you and this guy.
So the guy that in the Tiger King doco, obviously everyone's seen it. I'm sick of hearing about it, but the guy that kills himself is
Yeah.
fucking Dano's twin, eh?
Yeah, Dano twin brothers married to the Tiger King.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
They're married. So
This
he,
is a stitch up and a
the,
half. That's
the Tiger King
This is all
provides
thanks to
his,
Cal Stewart.
But then that guy, so the guy
he's
that
got revenge
then
on you.
he's the
Yeah.
one that ended up blowing his head off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had it on camera too.
Fuck, I would
it's
too
quite
if I had a
bizarre.
fucking tattoo like that.
Did you see the part where at his at the funeral when he got up and spoke?
Yeah. And then he just started breaking out into song, like he did his own rendition.
Before this, he says how he'd be sitting there at the computer, he's fumbling over emails to send to senators or whatnot, and to cheer him up, Dano's twin used to come and rub his balls in his face. And
And
this,
then his mum's bursting, like, she's crying, right? And he's just saying all this shit. And then it goes to an interview of her and was like, well, I didn't think it was like the best of times to be saying what he was saying.
he rebounds well, the old Tiger King. He got married again 2 months later to another dude.
Yeah.
So good on him. He's serving
And
22 years now.
And it seemed like another straight dude that he turned gay.
Yeah, apparently he's got the ability to do that.
He's got
Yeah.
that magic touch.
Can we just clarify this is Dano's twin, not Dano?
Well, you
Not
should go
Dano.
gay, Dano. Look what you get. You get a tiger farm.
That'd be
Yeah,
pretty
fucking
he's
sweet.
hanging
sick.
out there. Yeah,
Oh well.
all
If
the
I find a bloke who owns a tiger farm, I'll get around him. and
all
then
the
we'll
meth
go
you
from
want.
there.
Do you know there are more tigers in captivity in the US than there are roaming free in Africa?
No, in the world.
In the world, in
Yeah.
the world. Wow, so that's unbelievable. There's one guy who gets in trouble with the law in there because he smuggles them into casinos in Vegas as cubs, and then gets girls to go up to the room with him
But-
and his missus.
The one thing is,
Come
I
on.
was kind of really on his train because I didn't mind his film clips and his singing. And then I found out that the singing he paid for, and it's not him singing.
Yeah,
he's
man
just
can't be
lips.
that.
He's just lip
Yeah, he
syncing.
lip sync like those old 80s style movies or something from a TV show.
Because I was watching, I was like, he's a terrible person, but fuck, he can sing some country. And I was
Yeah.
I was looking through
He
looking through
paid the right
Spotify, but it's not him singing. And then I'm on this messenger group with my cousins over in the States, and we're all talking about it. And then I had to drop the bombshell because I think I heard it first, and they were like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. Good way to ruin it for
And-
me, mate.
And the farms, apparently for those that have watched it would know that the farm is moving. So all the best in Texas.
Another big thing for out of this coronavirus, the viral of this, which I just caught on to.
Oh, that, yeah, that where it says something about collecting free money and you click on it and it's a big black guy with a giant wang. Yeah.
The biggest wang. Have
yeah.
you seen that, Dano?
No, I haven't
No.
seen
Oh, so like
It's not something you forget too soon, don't know.
Well, I can imagine by the big blurred out bit down
Yeah,
there.
it's a fair sized blurb. And Freddie's loving this. He thought this was the best thing ever.
The-
He didn't
just had
want
to
to
bring
say
up
The
the
thing is,
wang.
because I listen to a lot of other podcasts, this black guy's actually dead. He died in 2016. And then, do you know the comedian Tom Segura?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tom Segura's made apparel, and all the apparel goes to the family of this guy.
Yeah, right.
Because he's like, this guy should be fucking making money off this, you know? And then so
Definitely.
rang the sister of this guy, and she said they couldn't even afford a headstone.
Oh, the tombstone.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
really?
so he was
Oh,
like, well, I'm going to make some funny as apparel if that's okay, and it's going to all go to your family. And
how good. Everyone, so the guy got
Yeah.
the laugh out of it
Jesus.
and the family made money. Righto. So if you need something to do while you're in isolation, watch The Tiger King on Netflix. Great show.
see Dano.
A guy,
Dano's
and tell
twin,
us
not
how
Dano.
much this guy looks like Dane Adams. Or if you want a bit more serious, deeper sort of thing,
Pornhub.
what you can watch Pornhub with Freddie. There's no guys who look
With
like Freddie in
Freddie.
this Pornhub. I'm
Boy,
telling you.
Zoom's a bit popular now, isn't it? So let's Zoom and watch some Pornhub
Yeah,
together,
no.
everybody.
If you want a serious thing, O.J. Simpson, Made in America, is pretty full on, following the life, bizarre character, old O.J. 5 episodes. Some of them go for a couple of hours each. It's deep. All right, let's get into some footy while we're here before we get arrested and the police kick the front door in.
But just so
for
everyone knows,
social spacing.
everyone knows, Righty, our majors, we actually disinfected our hands.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And our spacing's sweet.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have done this, followed the law, has got the couple of rulers out to measure the spacing, etc., etc.
We're just here putting in the hard yards for the law listeners, pretty much. So,
Yep.
so everyone out there
All three of
listening, Yeah.
A
We're
lot
still
of
here,
people.
You should still be here. Tell your friends about us.
Let's get the ratings. Let's get this going, Freddie.
What do you reckon, Righty? What footy news you got for us? What's happening?
Well,
How are you
As-
coping, mate?
oh man, I
Yeah,
got
I'm
plenty of footy sides. Me and Nate have spoke a few times. Nate Gladden, one of our mates, does the Great Rugby League in America podcast. He wants to have a bit of a cross podcast conference with everybody. He's spoken to him a couple of times, things like that. The story about Tangalooma.
Yeah, that's the big news.
Yeah, they're potentially, they just had the manager of that Tangalooma resort. He's been working with Chris Johns, and they're talking a time frame of possibly 6 weeks or so when we're on the downward of the curve, when the curve started flattening, to potentially house all 16 teams and staff there and play at 3 stadiums in Queensland, as in Seabus, Suncorp, and probably Dolphin Oval, and be commute there and back and things like that. So who knows? I know the NRL have got a new, what's the name of their task force? The Apollo mission, named after the space program back when Kennedy was president. It's got Wayne Junior Pierce as a running the show, yeah, and they'll be working with blokes like Trent Robinson and some other well-credentialed individuals, trying to. The NRL obviously really want the season to go ahead, so as soon as they get the green,
I think they need to,
because that would really, really be a kick in the nuts financially. Even Greenberg, we've all been critical of Todd Greenberg, he's decided to take the same pay cut as the players for the rest of the year, or until the season kicks back off, I think that's the right way to do it. There was a few dramas for their super fund. The NRL hadn't paid the right super fund money in the last 2 seasons, so there was a big meeting with the RLPA headed by your mate Clint Newton.
Neutron.
He's running the show there again, and he had blokes like Daly Cherry Evans is high up there, and Jared Croker, etc. So they fronted him on it. So going forward, there's going to be a lot more transparency with how they're using the money and how it's being distributed and whatnot, which I can understand. It is a business.
But do you think you see like all the organisations and what they're doing, and the NRL is so pushing. Do you think it's like a highlighting of where they're sitting financially compared
It
to the
definitely
AFL,
is.
compared to everyone
It
else?
definitely is. Well,
the
we've got
AFL
no money, and the AFL are...
They've just
AFL
gone and got massive bank loans from NAB, who are their
Yeah.
main sponsor. Because you know, with the AFL, they're always going to have the credentials to pay you back. It's like if you get overdrawn in your account on a Wednesday and they know that you get paid $700 every Thursday, they're going to let that slide because they know the money will come out within the next 24 hours. So working with NAB, they know the AFL are a money-making machine. The thing too is what we need the safeguards that they need to implement to stop shit like this happening again. People are going to have to take pay cuts. But salaries are going to have to be reduced. And I do feel sorry for, if you're just a bloke there like working in the office and they deem you as expendable, or already with the Brisbane Broncos, Ben Cross, one of the assistants, he's already been told he won't be, he's no longer required, things like that. It's hard. Like on Matt Johns' podcast this afternoon, he spoke to his son about Jack, who's in the top 30 at South. He said how he's been there for a couple of seasons, and you get to know these people. They've been helping you, trying to better your game. You become close with them, and you roll up to see a group of people get told that they're now redundant. Things like that.
Yeah.
Makes it hard.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
think the NRL would be in their best interest to go to try and get the game, to go to Moreton, try and get it running. Because just imagine there's going to be nothing on. If rugby league is the only thing on TV, people will be almost forced to watch it. And the amount of revenue
That smells like
raised.
Joe Exotic.
now's the time, because there's is it? One of those soccer competitions is still going in the old
the Belarus
Belarus
fucking-
soccer
the Belarus
competition. They're Premier
League.
Yeah. So there's ESPN and so forth all lining up to try and get the rights to that. That's what the NRL want to tap into. It's just doing it safely. And with borders closing and that, they squeezed out a couple of weeks and were criticised, but they were getting the
Bronx
right
were on their
advice.
way to winning the whole damn thing.
Yeah, well, it's not over yet. Hopefully.
I spoke with another well-credentialed individual.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Name names.
I can't tell you his name.
Steve Johnson.
No,
Who is it?
Did hear from Jono. He was in a couple of messages on the weekend, but Robbie Bergen was saying to me like,
So was it Bergs?
yeah, it
You
was
really
Bergen.
had to squeeze
He
it out
just
of him.
put-
eh?
He put out, like, you look at it too like this. The NBA, the NFL, they know how to market themselves properly. You need better marketing people here. We want the growth of the game. We're actually looking to try and expand to these places. But the fact that in those big money sports, they want you to be able, they want to wear LeBron's Lakers singlet or his Cleveland singlet around, in parts of Europe or in Australia. The NFL want you to be wearing Odell Beckham Jr.'s jersey or Brady's or Jimmy G's 49ers jersey. These are things, or Von Miller's jersey from Denver. That's how they have the right, because they have the money to do this. We have to, on a smaller scale, we have to ensure that we're trying the growth of the game just in various ways, trying to tap into different markets. Like, as Bergs had said to me, and I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning this, he can't believe that they're only just trying to tap in with ESPN now to get on on ESPN networks and things like that. This should have been happening a long time ago.
That would be
agree.
huge. That would be so fucking massive.
If you're on
I agree.
if
and
you're
also,
on-
Dano, save one of those beers because you can try the Mitch Bucket thing tonight.
Oh,
All right?
if you're
That's a red hot score to beat that motherfucker, eh?
Yeah.
no, that's
that'd
where I
be
scored.
hard.
No one's ever
Yeah.
going to beat. That's
Sorry, Roddy,
we
keep going.
have to expand. Like people, I heard on other podcasts, blokes saying we haven't even conquered Australia yet. There are parts of Australia you're never going to conquer. You're never going to conquer WA. We've got footholds there. We take Origin there. We were taking Origin to Adelaide, things like that. That's what they want to do. But we took the nines there, and the scheduling was rubbish. We tried the World Cup nines that you played in Freedy, and they're playing stuff on Friday night.
Sold out every single day.
Yeah, they're playing stuff on Friday night.
yeah.
and
The pub
Saturday.
down the road sold out probably.
Those sort of things, it's very amateurish. for a professional organisation like the NRL, they should have learnt from the World Cup version when they had the club nines in Perth.
Yeah.
It was Valentine's Day. It was a Friday night. People had stuff on. At the very least, even you couldn't give a rat's about Valentine's Day. You're coming home from work.
NBA.
Yeah, things like that people will watch can watch all these things at home.
Yeah.
Instead of going. And that's a thing. You have to take shit like this into consideration. Adelaide, they were only going to Adelaide for the money. Like they talk about the growth of the game and all this. It's money. These sort of things. What we've got to do.
But so realistically, gun to your head, you reckon that we can get something going from July, or that I find that story a whole bit of like clickbait, Tiny.
I reckon after that, I think anything's possible still at the moment, but we do not know, like with this virus, what the fuck's going to happen. But I would think if you can play into November, December, and everybody buys into it and work a way around it, safety-wise for players, things like that, a lot of stuff you've got to take into consideration.
Because just think, if you're playing match fitness into that December, just cut the preseason short,
and that's what the
and
plan
then just
was.
roll it into,
and that's what the plan
would have been.
Yeah, and those sort of things. Channel 9 weren't keen on going up against 2020 Cricket World Cup.
Yeah.
Channel 9 don't even have the cricket rights anymore. Shouldn't you be showing something?
Yeah, and the boys be like, "Oh, you mean we can just keep playing footy and not have to run 1.2s and fucking beep and yo-yo tests?"
The only thing with this would be those blokes that have signed contracts for the following year.
That
was mentioned today that you wouldn't be able to be there till after Christmas.
And contract negotiations are pretty much completely. They can still happen, but like all contracts are frozen pretty much at the moment. So like Tyson Frizzell's agreed to terms with the Knights, whereas he's agreed to terms with the Knights, but he can't officially put pen to paper because the NRL have blocked all contract signings,
and rightly so. That's just ludicrous.
Exactly. So
for the money he was asking,
but then it just puts another spanner in the works when you got to look at. If you want to roll into next season, if we do end up playing from September 1st or whenever it is, then we get this minimised pre-season for next year. If any, the players got to have a break over Christmas surely or something.
Yeah, 2 months. You get 2 weeks off annual leave. 2 months off 8 weeks, I should say. So that would be that. You'd start the season probably a month, 6 weeks later. Yeah. We don't worry about trials. Trials are a waste of time. I know the way they prepare.
While we're doing this too, are you going to do you could do an online coaching course and compete with your boy?
Well,
who's your boy again?
Who's
your boy?
I saw that Lee has. They've got a month. They've got a month of free coaching.
Yeah.
If you really want to find out, if you really want to delve into the game, you can come to Mitchie and hang out with me on a Saturday evening when the season starts, and we can just get on the terps and I'll talk plenty of footy with you for free.
It just sucks. Like, you think of the NRL and the trickle-down effects. Like, as soon as it happened, even with all our competitions getting cancelled, I even thought about, like, offers, like Offerdale, right? They loaded that team up for this year. And then you've got boys out at Gundy that aren't getting their matches. And that was what they were there, they're there for. So they just got a split and, like, it's the...
Gary Lowe, the PNG guy.
Yeah. Well, he's still in Toulouse.
Yeah, so there's no way in the world.
And imagine trying to get out of Europe right now.
Oh, no.
He did.
Yeah, that's the thing. And we've all got mates that were there. And you forget some of your mates that are actually over there until they post that they're actually on a flight coming back.
Like Jaden Parsons, he was on the show... wouldn't be any more than 2 months ago.
Oh, he slept on it, eh?
Yeah, and he's back home already. He had to leave.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the embassy suggested to him.
He couldn't. His job, he got made redundant, and the embassy suggested to go home. So him and his missus had.
They said UK will be hit the worst, but we suggest you get out of the UK.
So that's what they did, and same with Connor Morrissey's brother Declan. He was over playing in France in the championship, and he's in Sydney in a hotel room now doing his isolation. So he's another one that came back. So everyone knows one or two people around the world, and everyone's affected by the virus. So it's just crazy how it has such big effects on everyone and the things we love, including rugby league. And
it's
a bit of a nightmare, really. It's almost unbelievable, but what do you do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you hear about so much stuff.
It-
Like, I didn't even want to talk on it because you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you hear the experts
There's
don't know
so many
anything.
rumours,
you know?
and I saw people putting stuff up last week that they'd heard from people that would be going into isolation at the end of this week, and this and that. Well, it's Thursday, and I haven't heard nothing yet. And I'm not disputing anyone's sources, but I imagine stuff behind closed doors at the high levels would be an idea may come up and it could change in 2 days.
Yeah. Like, for the NRL.
Oh, no, just
for
in
everything. Yeah,
just
because
in government.
it's like, that people that are affected, and I'm in the education industry, and Christy, my wife, she's works for Virgin Airlines, but in the HR department, so she's still there. So at the moment, isolation, it hasn't been isolation for me. Nothing's changed except for my boys coming out to work out in my garage. But that's all that's changed really with the gym that I work out at. But for me, I'm going to work. I'm still going to work with 130 staff there, walking around staff rooms like nothing's different. And that's it. It's like the people, it sucks for the people that are losing jobs and they're feeling the isolation because they're actually staying at home and stuff.
Yeah.
You can go to Bunnings. I don't know for how much longer, but it's for me, it hasn't nothing's really settled in yet because I haven't stopped.
Well, I'm sort of the same. We haven't stopped at all. I've been working flat stick as well, and I've just been home and work. So it's sort of just been the norm really for me. I haven't been going out after work or any of that sort of stuff. And I do a lot of work with defence, and you go out to the army, and there's still people fucking everywhere out at the army. And we were out at Ambler yesterday, and the whole Air Force is still obviously up and running. I don't think there's sort of things that can shut down. So they're sort of
But
just
if you
doesn't feel real yet,
Dan, if you get a bit short, you could always start a fans only by imposing as that guy that was fucking the Tiger King.
I
You know?
could,
Yeah.
except my rig's almost too sculpted.
And you could do double with Joe Scully.
They don't
and
take
just have
professionals,
it-
but
Oh, okay.
I heard because I heard porn stars tried to get on, then they wouldn't let them. So that's what they say to me. They say, "Sorry, mate, you're too ruggedly handsome. Your cock's way too huge to be on."
So did Callum put that post
Yeah,
up?
typical,
Thank you,
yeah.
Cal. It was the
Cal,
funniest thing.
Stewart,
It wasn't.
you champion. And all right, let's get into watching some footy because
What we watched it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to talk Dano through how to this freaking. What do you call? Are you a millennial or
Yeah,
me and Righty millennials? And
be.
you're the next one, aren't you? The younger one.
No, I'd be a millennial.
Okay.
And you,
Righty's a boomer.
yeah, a long
boomer.
time, long time. I've
no,
watched.
you're
I've
Gen
watched-
X. You'd
yeah.
be Gen X.
I've
I'm millennial.
I've watched that many
That
shows
young
on
old
that.
man.
Yeah, I've looked it up, bro. I've looked it up.
All right, whack it up. We're gonna watch some highlights of this.
Well, we're not going to watch highlights, but I thought because we've all just watched it, but I'd brought up like a.
You could get some YouTube highlights going up, man.
Yeah.
Of the actual game, which would probably be better than going through the full thing.
Yeah, I
Alright.
know. Yeah, but I thought the thing was on KO was good because it broke it down,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to because if people actually watched it,
Yeah,
they'll
well-
know exactly what we're talking about.
Should-
But
I haven't watched the KO version, but I have watched the
Yeah.
game. What do you want to do?
well, I wanted
All
to
right, go through the highlights.
just
we'll
chat about it,
Go through, bring up some highlights,
and then because
we'll
we
skip
like
through
I
that.
think we took down some yeah. If you just keep chatting, you two boys, and then talk about
This is what's one thing too. I've been able to watch plenty of footy. It's been great.
I'm just
KO.
trying to
Yeah,
get
but the
the,
thing, and I don't know if it's set up on this set, but the thing about this game, the reason why I thought it'd be sick is because you remember this year Parramatta to get to that position to be in the prelim, they beat Newcastle in the extra time. I'm pretty sure
That year,
So they
Para were booming. They went to 3 prelim finals over. What was it?
Yeah,
98, 99, 2000. Lost them all. Made the grand final in 2001. Lost that, and then went the slide.
So the game they ended up. So Bulldogs ended up winning 32-20.
Mm-hmm.
The week before they came from behind to beat
the
Newcastle
Knights.
an extra
Yep.
point, extra
Golden
time
point.
as well.
The first week they just beat St George at Cogra.
Yeah,
I was there.
but wait, you know what was sick though? Watching this is how it went to 20 minutes extra time.
Yeah.
I reckon.
I thought that was
I was like,
sweet.
Golden
man.
point.
Imagine how
Golden point's a waste of
fucked
time.
you would be
Yeah.
if you just finished 80 minutes of a prelim and then had to play. Either way, no matter how many points you score, you got to play another 20 whole minutes.
And that was sweet because you saw fatigue out there. You saw a lot of
yeah.
fatigue.
And the last try the Dogs scored was just pure fatigue. Like,
yeah.
Parramatta players just absolutely flogged to within an inch of their lives. They just couldn't get there, and the Doggies just come up with tries through fatigue, which is pretty much what we want to see, you know? Like, there's nothing better than when fatigue comes into a game and you watch players come into their own, you see who's been doing their conditioning.
Because in that first half, man, Parramatta's all over them, like absolutely killing them. I wrote down Kelly. Kelly was just carving them up, and he was
Kelly.
So much fucking speed. And I think he went from Parramatta to Bronx.
Like, and that was the worst thing you ever did. Like, some blokes change clubs.
Yeah, that's right.
Capture the same form.
But it was Shavosky's pretty much breakout year, wasn't it? Yeah, before he went to camp.
Came from the Crushers to there.
Yeah,
they had some stars in both those sides.
So so coming back, it was 10 minutes to go. So it was 79th minute, and they're down 18-2.
18-2. They were on the way. They had you had one arm in the grand final jersey at this stage. You started thinking you were there. Then the entire momentum shift.
Yeah, and you had another funny thing that stood out to me. So you had Darren Smith, Jason Smith, wearing number 12. I think he was wearing jersey 12, playing just like an extra halfback there, just setting shit up.
He had ridiculous skills, Jason Smith.
Jason Smith.
You know how you don't have to be quick. You've just got to slow the game down to your speed. Yeah. He proved that. He'd amble up. He'd take the ball to the line. He'd hold it up. Yeah. Similar to Cliff Lyons. Next to me, short ball, someone running the support line, straight through. Things like that. The blokes think, we've got this. They've got that. You want to slow the game down to your speed. Like, some blokes want to slow it down. Some blokes want to speed it up. Jason Smith, he wanted to slow it down. Other blokes want to play fast.
That's it.
And tie you out.
And he was almost like inviting, we'll play at this speed and I'll still sort it out. Another thing was, I was thinking of Righty when I was watching, because I knew he'd be jacking off to it, is the block plays pretty much non-existent. It always went.
I love it.
It went a long pass, really quick short pass. They just timed that. They timed that.
That edge runner was always running a fucking
and just
hard
those
line
short hard lines were perfect, spot on.
Hindmarsh was a young, fast back rower at that stage, and he was wreaking havoc out wide.
And
McCracken, ex-centre, ex-rugged centre, they turned into a forward.
Yeah, and even if it went like not like a two pass, if it went a long pass straight to the short, it was.
Who's the? I can't remember his name. The big centre for the Bulldogs at
Talau.
Talau.
Yeah, his son plays at the West Tigers now.
Yeah. Some of the lines he was running on that left edge for the Dogs were exceptional.
And
he played plenty of test footy too, Willie Talau.
Yeah, and then 98 or the second phase play, man, they're all looking for that offload, and they're timing the run because they know what's happening.
Have you noticed too? There were more blokes then who, now that we're very, very programmed, there were more blokes then who had the skills to use. Dean Britt's father, Darren Britt, he never played for New South Wales, but he played for a test for Australia, a few tests for Australia. And he went on tours and so forth, won a World Cup. He was a big fella who could use the ball. When Silver scored and Robert Ralph with the offload, chunky forward, just knowing how to offload and when. Yeah. And then you had Dimmick. Dimmick was one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
Because he was just tough. He had that kicking game, ball play pre and post line. Those sort of blokes, they went into the game with that flair, like a lot of Indigenous boys can do that.
One of the things I love about watching footy from that sort of area is exactly what you're saying, second phase. Every time someone gets the ball, someone gets into contact, they're not just looking to either die with it or to try and drag 2 or 3 extra metres. They're looking to either die with it, get a quick play the ball, or turn and just look for a player. And the best thing I love most of all is that everyone was always pushing up. Every time you get into contact, you turn, you throw an offload, there's always someone there, and they're not standing catching it there.
On the mark. A couple of the plays, like you said, Righty, from Rod Silver in that, it was like he started running 2 minutes before the offload was happening.
Knew something might come on the chance he might get it. And those sort of things. The defence had gone to sleep thinking it was all over. And then that late offload, that just opened them up. Silver scored. By then, everyone's 10 foot tall, chest out, walking tall, and you're feeling you're going to get them.
And Polamauna just was like, jump on my back, boys, and I'm doing this. And that, man, if that fucking field goal went over from 50 out,
50,
off the calf, Geez,
It's
it's like
ridiculous.
things like that. That's why I was like, this game is so sick. We need to watch this one.
Did he not just fucking grow a third leg and just say everyone climb on because it's my time. Chew, get the fucking
Obviously, the week after they went on and got
And got
pumped by the Bronx.
fingered by the Broncos.
They led at half time in
Yeah.
that. It's just Brisbane had that cracking
Yeah,
squad.
they versed the Broncos side that was definitely under the salary cap, but
And they okay,
talk
I'll
about
throw
the
one
cap.
out. Interesting little thing. 98 Broncos. Who was the hooker? This bloke could
Johnny
seriously
Platt?
play.
Oh, it was Kieran. Oh, well, it was Walters, wasn't it?
I
It
thought
was,
it
Phil
um,
Lee.
Phil Lee.
Phil Lee.
So he was usually like a lock kind of thing, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
lock ball, skillful lock. There was
Yeah.
a legend about him. He's some of my mate's age. He's Miles's age.
Yeah.
And there was a story about him that when he was 15, he sat on the bench for Sunnybank Opens in the grand final, come off the bench in the second half and scored the try to win the game.
Oh,
So,
really?
and back then that would have
Jesus.
been back in the 90s, so around early 90s, so things like that. I don't know what Opens it was, but the fact he had that much potential. If he hadn't had so many injuries, I reckon Phil Lee would have played Origin.
But I also a point where it changed in that one game. It was Carriage
Paul Carriage
kicks the ball back
Holy
in that
shit.
play, and that's where they passed it back to Polamiana.
Yeah.
What about that bloke? He had 2 good seasons. He was Broncos lower grade and went to Para.
Yeah.
Played heaps of first grade. That was his last game in the NRL.
If
After that, he went overseas and then come back and played Cup
that-
at Wynnum.
if that drop goal went over, he would have had to have just thrown his head against a wall, surely.
But-
But just to give the opposition an opportunity to even have a shot.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Oh, that's-
What are you
And
doing,
Brian
champ?
Smith would be the sort of coach that'd be cardinal sin.
Oh, 100%.
That'd be. A mate of mine played lower grades there, and Smith was the first grade coach.
Who's your mate?
Christian Robertson. And Robbo played 21s, and Robbo's tough as. He was from Warwick, hard, played heaps of country footy. He didn't mind giving away a penalty. Anyway, so after the first year, he's on for 2. He calls him in, and he's doing debrief for the season. And he said, if I was a betting man, I'd bet you won't be here next year. But he was, and he thought, what the fuck do I say to that?
Yeah. Do you remember also, Roddy, you probably do, you were a bit too young thinking about Joe Exotic, but the Rod Silver, that was his only year, mate. Like, remember, he came off the bench, I think it was like mid-round.
When they'd won it 3 years previous, he'd come over before June 30. He was at the
Yeah.
Roosters for years, and then he just was playing reserve grade.
Yeah.
They had other blokes ahead
And
of
then
him.
they brought him in that year. He started killing it. He was kind of a cult hero that year
Yeah.
for him. And then after that year, he just faded away.
And he was always in and out, talented, never as good as he was in that run,
Yeah.
but he was always a talented player. By the end, the last game he played was 2002, when they got stripped of all their salary cap
Yeah.
points?
Yeah.
And he ended up playing like one game in first grade that year, and they'd won their last game and couldn't make the finals. I think I saw him play a couple of years after that. He was in the reserve grade grand final. So they just unfortunately he wasn't getting picked, but geez, he could play. They had Canterbury. They don't mind. They can find a player who has something special. In the early 90s, they had this bloke, Ewan McGrady. I think his son, I've seen him at the game. I think his son was that big centre on the right who played for Gundy, Dave McGrady.
Yeah.
And
He
there's
scored 3 tries.
It was a heap of, there's a
He's
heap.
handy.
You put it on him, didn't you? You fucking
No,
pumped
Walshy
him.
did.
Well, she whacked
Yeah.
him a bit, but
Walshy
he
gave
was
him one,
good.
But he scored 3 tries on us, the bastard. He
Kept
was
catching
real
for numbers
handy.
and just.
There's a couple of those McGrady's played in that Gundy side, I think.
They always
I
and
lost
they always-
count after 3 digits.
at the at the knockout and that. Ewan McGrady had like these 3 or 4 years. They found him playing in Moree, got him to Sydney, and he always had that unpredictable magic that they didn't mind back in those days of footy, and he could cover. He won a Rothmans medal. Rothmans medal is like a pretty
Yeah.
prestige thing. He had to sell it because he was that broke
Explain
afterwards.
to me what a Rothmans medal is.
Like the player of the year, the coach's player of the year, like the referees vote
Okay.
on the
So it's
referee
like,
voting.
so when we have our Brisbane Div 1 player of the year, that comes off referees voting. So it's
Yeah.
pretty
This
much
is
the
how they
same
used to
thing.
do it then. Rothmans used a big black tie, prezzo, etc. Then I think it was mid-90s that they banned all tobacco companies from
So, yeah,
sponsoring
It
sport.
couldn't be Rothmans.
Yeah, that's why it went from the Winfield Cup to the Optus Cup
Yeah.
and things like that. But McGrady, he could light it up. I'll put his highlights on our page, mate.
Yeah,
He-
make sure you put it on your TV, then film it off your TV, then put it on our page, yeah?
No, I'll just put it straight on there.
classic.
So, no, I do agree. The doggies did definitely add something. Well, they were the ones who sort of gave obviously JT his first run. They
Yeah, Thurston.
picked Stephen
too
Price.
small.
Stephen Price was a
Well,
fucking
Thurston was too small. No one thought he was going to be able to cut it because he was too
Yeah.
small.
Nah,
And
Kim-
that's what he
7
was.
games.
Kimmy
in his
Garissa knows the
NRL career,
doggies have sucked since 98.
The big doggies, man. He'll be loving this chat. And that was the thing, like in that, when they got on, they just had a lot of tough as blokes. Hetherington at hooker. Jason Hetherington at hooker.
a gun.
Hetherington he got dropped from the Queensland side that year after the second game, and Jamie Goddard came back in. After
just
that,
so he could bash the fuck out of Johns again.
that was the year before. after that, Hetherington got called up to play for Australia in 2 tests they had at the end of the year. So Kevy Walters got hurt. They had Andrew Johns at hooker. They moved Andrew Johns in the halves with Langer and put
Yeah.
Hetherington in. What a set of halves. And they flogged it. They won like 36-16.
Also, boys, with that 98, was that 1 year after the Super League?
Yep.
And
When they first
that's
came
when they
back.
first came
Yeah.
back, yeah. So the Broncos walked through that Super League.
Dominant squad.
And then the Newcastle won the ARL, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the end against
Yeah.
Manly. And Newcastle were flying that year. Then about 3/4 of the way through, Davis got suspended. That was when a lot of blokes got done for roids. Like they realised, Corin Redding from South, Wayne Richards was second rower from Newcastle. Davis got made a scapegoat. Rodney Howe. Howe was dominating the comp and then found out.
Well, Andrew Johns won the Dally M in 98, didn't he?
Yeah, he was killing it. And things like that. They were
They-
leading. They were up like the week before that Freddie was
They
talking
got
about.
beat by
They were
the
up like
doggies,
14-0,
Yeah.
16-0.
And extra
right.
time. It was a magic run. Like, because Bulldogs were so underrated that
Yeah,
year as
yeah.
well, because
They
they were
come-
playing with a bunch of reserve players, half of
Yeah.
them, and it was just so cool to see. And that year I was down in Sydney living, and I went out in the second half of the season, I went out to Bankstown to watch them in their small stadium out at Bankstown.
Yeah.
But I think it was closer to Blacktown.
At Belmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Belmore Oval, yeah.
And then, mate, like there
Right near the train station.
and that's why I was saying about Rod Silver, because bro, everybody's talking about him,
Yeah,
and
just a
they
hero,
realized
eh?
there was something happening here, and I was just kind of worried about my safety. But I went to watch the Broncos, and the Bronx won, and I was like, yeah, go Broncos,
yeah.
like a deal.
Doing all those Lebos coming down. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Don't say Levos, but
Like, that's the thing, though. Like, momentum, it's this thing in footy, and everyone goes, oh, what happened in the second half? When you lose, it doesn't matter what level of footy it is. It's so hard to get it back. Like, you can be leading 20-0, doing it easy. Then as soon as sides get a sniff, all of a sudden, they can go bang, 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 score 3 tries. Like, and it happens, blokes get a bit complacent. Canterbury would have been thinking, Para, we'll play this smart. Another couple of minutes goes by, it's too big a mountain to climb. But as soon as they got those 2 quick ones, you start believing. Self-belief, big
that's
thing.
it. And you notice, going back to your momentum chat, right? You noticed that momentum swing was so humongous in that game.
And the
that-
body language, you know how
Yeah.
when you start making sides nervous?
yeah, it was like Parramatta stopped believing in themselves.
Things are working.
Yeah.
They had Shane Werrett on the wing. Werrett had won the Botany Gift, the Australian sprint thing.
Yeah.
He'd played league
And-
as a kid, and
and
Roosters got him.
Daryl Halligan missed, I think, the first 1 or 2.
And that one he kicked later on.
And then the
was
later
absolutely
ones, he was
class.
asking to take it from the second row and just slotting it.
Yeah. That last,
and I
that
noticed
last
that game-
conversion he took was unbelievable.
And
It's
he
like,
wasn't
didn't
wearing
look
his
like
headgear in that game.
Yeah, yeah.
Old
Ridiculous.
Chook Halligan. I was
And-
just watching a highlight of Silver's try then. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The way he just burnt everyone.
One of my notes is also, do you think Bill Harrigan struggled to get pussy that year because he's the best looking ref I've ever seen?
Big negative. He was doing the job.
And he would have been hated among many men, and he would also have been loved among many other men.
He was a
so.
copper too, so he would have had a lot of mates. That's another thing they had. They had Travis Norton playing lock.
That's right.
Travis Norton, like when Talau scores that one on that shift, got the bloke to the right place. Everyone's hitting the lines.
Yep.
And boom, like the defence is backpedaling. It's getting nervous. And then all of a sudden, this kick, here it is. That try, they should have defended that. Even if you hold on for one set, force a drop out, they're going to run out of time. Oh, you never look like
And
this.
so when we get back to playing at West Mitchie, righty, are you going to tell Clint about the double pass to the short pass, timed perfectly without
I could tell
blocks?
him. I know he's a big fan of the double block shape, but we have the shackles have come off quite a lot. Anything where we find space, and that's go. We've got to play a lot of edge footy and run sides around because we're not a giant side, but we've got some blokes with some decent leg speed around the middle, like Big Nath. But you don't want to confuse things with Big Nath because thinking ain't his business.
You don't want to
just tackle and run, brother.
Just don't tell him anything, mate. Grab the ball, run that way.
And he'll
if someone
do that.
runs this way, you kill him.
Where someone like Trent, one of the new forwards, Trento's got a bit of leg speed, I reckon. He looks pretty fit. You know what I mean? He's got a bit of go in him. Those blokes running the right angle. Finding elbows, knees. It's imperative at any level. If you're getting in between, that's another thing too. When they had blokes like Hindmarsh and that coming at you on those edges, he's a bigger rig than you think he is. Him and Fletcher are about the same size.
Oh, bro, so good.
So like him coming at you fast, all of a sudden it's bending your back and you're just holding on. Your legs tackle someone like legs tackles don't get rewarded anymore.
Yeah.
So cop the legs tackle, find your front, even if you made 5 meters, and then someone like yourself or Dano hits someone taking. So I've made my 5, someone else has picked up 15. That's all contributes to getting out. It's like taking those shitties coming
quick
out.
play of the ball so undervalued, eh? If you can get a quick play of the ball, fuck me. Especially when you got a hooker that's going to go, or a set of forwards that'll play at the back of it. You look at South, they get Cameron Murray playing in the middle, comes up, bang, down, up, Damien Cook, gone. And if Cook doesn't go, straight on the back of that, you got another big raging forward, like an edge forward. You got a Jaden Sewer or something like that hitting an edge, running at a half on the back pedal still. He's ridiculous.
And that's what, in that 98 game, because it wasn't as wrestle-centric as it is like nowadays, when they get on a roll, it's so hard to stop those big dogs ripping into you.
How good was when they you see they kind of make those half breaks and to see that play within traffic that it's kind of turning into non-existence at the moment, but it was just cool to see. And it did. And what was their interchange back then, right?
12.
And what are we now?
8.
2000 when the Broncos beat the Roosters, it was unlimited. So they had Petro got injured during the season. Harvey Howard came in. He'd played like
unlimited interchange,
and it was just
you just roll on. They called it monster ball. So you had Thorne and that.
Ridiculous.
You had big boppers like Thorne, Harvey Howard, and that just coming at you all day. Webke.
Because even with 12 in that 98, I noticed more fatigue out there. Obviously, it's because the way that they train now, it's everything's going to advance.
Game simulated.
And there's a lot of side to side. They like to do those long balls through to an edge. Like these days, they like to pick a channel and do a target or something along those lines. I think is a lot more, a bit more side to side, a bit more used to the footy. And they're not afraid. They weren't afraid to use the footy either. So there's a lot of the ball comes down here and then turnover, come back up here. Not afraid to play in traffic, you know.
I think next season, if we get back this season, we sack Clint, we put our money together, grab Polamauna. All right, we get Polamauna up here coaching us, and we
lives at Noosa,
and we wear extra large jerseys so our arms look like pipe cleaners, like they all did. But yeah. But fuck, that was a good game. But anyway, so I reckon for next week, you choose like 3 of your favourites and then put a poll up and see which one we watch, you know?
Yeah, all right.
Something like that. That'd be
put
classic.
That up. Like, there's some great ones on there on KO. Some real, like, 90s games, 80s. There was I watched this 80s game. Cronulla were playing the Roosters at Henson Park, and the Roosters had a gun side that year, and they just pipped Cronulla at the end. E.T. was a young bloke, and McGaw, they were there. They only, they wouldn't have been 19. And they were doing some damage out there against some real tough. Gilmeister played. Yeah. He was still chopping. He was the axe. Still just look like a different world. You know what I mean? Like how I've been to Henson Park now, watch New South Wales Cup, and just think that you could watch an actual NRL standard first grade game there. That would have been, you'd be going all the time because the pub's about 10-minute walk from the back gate, things like that. If you're just a local person and you you loved your footy, you'd be going there all the time.
Yeah.
It'd be like going if you're at Redcliffe and they were playing NRL games at Redcliffe and you wouldn't care.
Oh, fucking everyone would be
Like
there.
the Warriors were playing someone at North Sydney this year originally.
Yeah.
That would have been mad if you were just
That
a
would have
local
been
North
huge.
Sydney person, just not giving a rat's who won, but just go and see.
Well,
First
Just to
grade
go on
foot.
to watch
Yeah.
first
when
grade,
the
yeah.
Bunnies versus Melbourne, like round 13, whatever it was this season at Central Coast Stadium.
Yeah, they were,
It wasn't a like obviously it's not like a family club or anything, but like just to have footy there, and it's sort of such a laid back set area. Everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, just cruise down, watch some NRL footy," you know. Like it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, the thing too, like, and started taking these games to the country, which is we should have been looking after the country footy many years before that, because country footy is such a big part of local communities. So in those games, like when they go to Tamworth, they go to Dubbo and stuff like that, playing these big stadiums. The Panthers go to Bathurst. They get those fields like Scully Park and that looking mint. They're chockers. People have come from out of town to stay there. It's pumping into the economy. They've gone there, trained for a week, had a couple of coaching clinics, things like that breathe life back into places.
Yeah.
City country used to be great for that, but then it just doesn't fit the scheduling no more,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
No, that's true. So we got a fuckload of questions.
Yeah,
Dana, do you want to do the Mitch Bucket challenge before questions?
I don't really want to do it at all. But
No, you
if
gotta
I
do
got
it. Yeah,
well, I'll
yeah.
do it now because I got to drive.
Because you got a
home at some
Goldie.
point.
Yeah.
I gotta
All
do
right.
it.
So let's, Bright, if you get your timer out, and
Oh,
we'll just do it off.
I wouldn't bother.
We'll do it off that corner, and I'll like that corner, just that pocket right there. I'll get a glass for you.
Okay, reiterate, what was the time that Mitch did?
He's got 3 seconds, but
Holy shit, 3 seconds. I know blokes who can't open a beer in 3 seconds.
also got to look at split seconds because a lot of people are going to be able to do it around that marker.
Okay, yeah, there would be some good scullers.
I don't think.
At Mitchie, who's a good sculler?
Well, ex-Mitchie boy, Liam Grosler, he could definitely put one down.
Oh, yeah, big Gross, yep, 100%. Hope he's doing well up there in Cairns.
Big Joey was never afraid to scull one either. Joey, he could get it down. Yeah, I'm not too sure, That's probably...
About it that I can think of, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some hidden talent around the club.
Yeah.
Righto, bro. I'm sure there's some good talent around the club, but I suppose we'll...
Have to see. We don't have the old, boat races and stuff like that no more. Like, we don't do the man of the matches at the one time and things like that.
Yeah, well, it could become more of a mainstay next year. We get some home games when we get.
Yeah, I reckon
doubleheader
it's something we got to bring back, especially too, with all that's happened and everyone's missing footy. We've got to, and not just at the top level, but we've got to cash in on these sort of things too. You know what I mean? Getting people there,
And
have some days.
It just brings the culture back into it too a bit.
Oh well, this is going to be big.
It's going to be slow, is what it's going to be.
Just bear with me a sec, boys. I'm gonna find my. Hold on a sec. There it is.
Oh, you got the time, right?
All right.
All right, so it's as soon as he picks it up and he's got a skull and then put it back down.
All right. The Throff.
Yeah, remember
dial.
a Bucks fingered it, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah, just give
fingered
us,
the throw.
Could have just poured it like a normal human. Well, I'll never be more.
as soon as the hand goes to glass, you say?
Yep. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, he's struggling already.
4.61.
4.61. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought you were going quite
That's
well.
way better than what I'd do
Fuck you,
anyway.
buckets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the way Bucks did that, that just made it look too easy.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but Buckets is just like he opens the just opens the
Yeah,
gates.
it's ridiculous. I don't know how he does it. I can't just open it up like he does. It's ridiculous.
That was still a lot faster than what I'm going to do. How you go righty with it?
Nah, I'm not real good.
Yeah, I'm
If we're doing spirits,
I might have to. I'll go into training
Yeah,
for my whole quarantine, for the rest of my
Okay.
quarantine, rest of my ISO. I'll start training.
but what I want to do is
Your time to beat now.
have like the whiteboard up there, like with buckets, time,
yeah,
and
sort,
then
of
yeah,
like a top
so exactly
gear
challenge,
what
yeah.
was that again? So we can just
4.6.
4.6.
Yep,
All
we'll
right.
give them that. All right, let's get into these questions. There's been a heap of questions. A lot of
Mm.
people wanting shout outs, things like that. we're one of the biggest shows
A
in
lot
town.
of people want to shout out.
Yeah, we're one of the biggest shows in town now, so everyone wants to get a piece and wants to get a bit of free publicity from the boys here at Any Given Monday, and we are happy to oblige. Anything we can do to help spread the game and help people out.
Wait, I'll refresh this, and then do you want me to pick them out, Roddy? You
Yeah,
can see
brother,
them
no,
up
no,
there, and
you
you
do.
can.
You fire it out. There's some good ones in there.
Okay.
There's a whole heap on the Any Given Mondays page as well, which
Yeah,
should
sweet.
be good to get to.
Yeah, right. So go 1 for 1, Dana, if you want. There should be one.
Yeah,
I'll-
Dana, if you
I'll
want to
pull
look
up
at that one,
Yeah,
and
right.
I'll do
I got
this
the Any
one.
Given Mondays one here.
Yep, cool.
All right.
Yeah, go.
All right, I'll go first. Yeah, Stanty wants to know
This'll
how will
be
the
deep.
season pan out if they do come back this year. I think we've sort of touched on that. I think if it does come back, we're looking at either a July 1st or September 1st, and I think we've touched on that.
Maybe one round.
Yeah.
Play everybody once.
Yeah.
And probably less because they've played 2 games, so you
Yeah.
won't play either of those sides again. Let's
Ki-
hope it does.
Kimmy said you've already kind of answered in the post. He goes, when do we get Valley's head coach in here? But we'll get Hughesy in here whenever, whenever he wants to get
Tibbo,
in here.
if you're listening, brother, whenever you want, we'll work something out. Even if we go live, FaceTime live like they do on Fox NRL and a lot of other shows now.
Paisley chimes in. I can't understand the end
This
of it.
is going to
but-
be classic, okay?
But at
Go
the
for
start of it, he pretty much is just ragging on our little mate. He goes, am I the only person that think Max Gill looks like Robert Irwin? And I can tell you
Interesting.
one thing. No,
Interesting.
you've got a good point because
All right, we're
I
gonna
also share that.
we'll put up a photo of Max Gill and of Rob Irwin.
Yeah,
and
we'll get
see-
Max in his car keys and
Yeah.
we'll get it up there.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right, we'll clarify that one for next show. Okay. How you going there, Freddie?
Yeah, a lot of the questions feed there is just in the actual questions itself.
Yeah, questions within question. Fire another one, Dana, then.
Jackie Walsh says a good one here. It's a bit of more of an opinion sort of style of question. In your opinion, boys, who is the next immortal?
I think Lockyer. I don't know what their criteria is anymore because I know with some of those Hall of Fame things, you can only be nominated a couple of times. Do you think Lockyer would be next cab?
I
off the
think
rank?
you only get 3 chances. I think is the rule.
With the Hall of Fame, yeah, it's a bit different. They can grab lads from like Daily Messenger and that who no one has seen play, but by all accounts, he was a sensational footballer.
And yeah, this ties into Nate Gladden, who he says, who is the best you've ever watched? Any level at playing the game based on instinct, even if he wasn't the most skilled.
I'd say Lockie is the best I've ever seen.
I'd say, for me, Lockie is, when it comes to the argument of Lockyer and Andrew Johns, I don't think it's an argument. I just think it's Lockyer.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
for longevity, for actually what he did, for his rep count, you know what I mean? But
Playing 2 different positions and
Yeah.
winning 3.
Joey played hooker for Australia.
Yeah, because
you know
he
what I mean?
couldn't make
by
half.
No,
default.
because they wanted to get
By
Kamali in
default.
there.
And then Lockyer played fullback, was like, I'm the best in the world at this. I'll
He
try
won
my hand in
3
another
Dally M
position, and
fullbacks
then
of
I'll
the
do.
year.
As
And
good
won
as he
3 Dally M
was, it
fullbacks
took
of the
him
year.
about 3 years to be a real good 5'8".
But then he was the best in the world at it.
For
Nah.
a long time.
I'd have Thurston over Lockyer.
I wouldn't.
No,
Either-
I'm
either,
saying
yeah.
Johns.
Yeah, but
Oh,
like,
would you have
I
Thurston?
I picked the team tonight of best footballers I've ever seen
Yeah.
on this challenge, and I had to throw a few positions together quick.
So Thurston
didn't-
was your 5'8",
Him and Joey in the halves. Without
and
a
then
doubt.
who's your fullback?
Fullback? Slater.
Okay.
I
would've-
wouldn't be picking Thurston in my side. I'd have Cronk before I had Thurston.
Cronk was on the bench. Depends what you want. Depends what you got there. But Lockyer's a brilliant player. We know what he can do. This is an argument that'll never be solved.
I think for fullback too, Lockyer kind of set a blueprint where like what Slater and that followed.
I think Lockyer
He was the
Lockyer-
first ball-playing fullback.
Yeah.
and he was just so the way he tore defenses up from the back, like from his kick returns, he'd catch the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour, like square up on a back rower coming down, and then sort of just shimmy to the outside and get between the back rower and the half, or the back rower and the centre, and then use an edge player. You saw it in Origin. He did it with Dell. Comes from the back, comes out straight.
Lottie. With Lottie.
Oh, with Lottie, with Lottie.
Yeah, that looked
comes up,
all right first 2 minutes
comes
of the
up,
game.
straightens up, and then just puts a little swerve on the back rower, short ball, sends his bloke through. And he did it on numerous occasions playing at fullback. And then when he went to the halves, all translatable skills come up, square up on your back rower, step to the outside and use the numbers.
First couple of years,
incredible.
he was a pass defender in the front line. They'd spot him up.
But that's why Tony Carroll was beside him.
Yeah, just
pass.
hit everything.
One that was Johns. Johns could smack cunts.
But
Johns was the shot machine.
But then talking about that motherfucker is who else has gone from fullback to 5'8" and totally killed it like that? No one yet.
From fullback, yeah.
No one. They've all been trying to do it, turn fullbacks into 5'8", and no one's been able to fucking do it.
Yeah, I agree.
They always talk about it, but it doesn't. It's not something you do. Like you wouldn't.
But I think what aids Lockie is he had that sweet ass kicking game already.
Yeah, he was very skillful. Like the thing too, their attack was shit out, so he wouldn't at the time they were struggling. At the Broncos, they'd make the first week of the finals and get beat. They needed to add something, so Bennett said we've got to move him there, and it turned out in the long run.
Just leadership too.
It is
leadership qualities.
It's for me. Like just say I was picking. If they said Freddie, you got to pick an NRL team, and just say you had a choice between Lockyer and Johnsy, I'd go Lockyer in my NRL team. But if I was picking a backyard team around the clothesline, I'd probably grab Johnsy. You know, like it's like Johnsy was like was like your players that was like they didn't give a fuck what level they were playing at. He was just going to do his thing.
And that was the thing.
Pulled off,
And when they won the World Cup in 2000, they had Joey at hooker, they had Kamali, Lockyer was fullback. Trent Barrett was coming off the bench as their util that they threw him in Fittler at 6. So no wonder they smoked him in the. That side would go close to beating anybody. There wouldn't be too many sides that could beat that.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you had to play them 3 times, say your 3-test series. But to me, the best players I ever saw were, in any order, Lewis, Lockyer, Johns, Thurston, and Cameron Smith. Other real good players in positions. There's so many, fullback, we've been blessed with so many great fullback. Like Tedesco's king of the hill at the moment, but over the years there's been some other great ones like Hayne, great player. Slater was probably the best. Mini, Brett Stewart, a lot of guys that were brilliant and got chances to play rep footy and played well. It's just you get injured, you blink and someone takes your spot, and a bit like that now. Look at it too. Like
Brett Stewart's a funny one because it sucked. Like I'd love to sit without the injuries, man.
Yeah.
You know,
and he played plenty of games, and
he just retired when he was 30 years old.
Yeah,
he was more like a 5'8" at fullback, where he'd feed the wingers on those returns.
But he also had that speed,
and that when he'd skipped,
he did cut defences up for all the time. He was good to watch.
When you had that right side at Manly, and you had his brother ball playing there, you had Cherry, his brother, Gift. You had Lyon and you had Brett sweeping round. When they're coming at you fast like that, where they've rolled through, and they've got those fast play the balls, you're not stopping that. You know, good sides have that can terrorise people. Like all good sides that win, it's like when the Roosters needed to score a try in the grand final and they went their left side and they went bang, bang, 2 shots. Keary jumps out, gets it to Latrell offloads to Tupou, Tedesco. Decide he's pushing up, like you're saying.
There's always
everyone with all these great sides. Someone's pushing up because there's an opportunity coming.
It dead set gets me rock hard when I see that.
And
when you just see that,
like you've trained for this against nobody.
You always know that no matter what, Tedesco's going to be there. There's a try that Chook scored.
You just want to drive down to Florida and start a Taiki camp. Yeah?
Unbelievable. When there was a try, I can't remember. It wasn't last year. It was the year before, but. It was a Cooper Cronk outside ball hits a back rower, comes back inside to Cooper Cronk.
Yeah.
A Cooper Cronk has a line break and he gets caught and he doesn't even look, just throws it over his shoulder. And Tedesco is right there and hits him right on the chest and he scores a try. And I was sitting at home going,
it's funny because it turned from behind the ruck play to let's get in between the marker. Nil,
Yeah.
it's pretty much let's
Yeah.
be getting between 1 and 2 marker play.
Yeah, and those sort of things.
Yeah,
Right,
to a
next-
block, to a double block and a wrap and a
They're
double
good.
block.
They're good, them double blocks. Should
Yeah.
have more of them.
Do we have anything on our Insta?
I still got a handful on
Yeah.
here.
Yep, fire them out. right?
Jodes just wants. She said, "Let us know. Let our supporters know that West Mitchelton is missing everyone. So
Right.
everyone
The West Mitchie Footy Club,
West Mitchie
juniors
family.
and senior,
is
we're all-
grieving and missing
Yeah.
everyone.
we're all missing yous. We all would be there at least this Saturday or the past Saturday. Everyone would have been there. It's like, big hole in our lives at the moment. But we'll be back and we'll be better. Like a lot of clubs, we're probably... This stuff happening at the top isn't affecting us as much because we don't get that much money from the BRL. Well, we run on sponsorships and volunteers, which is like a lot of clubs at a lot of different levels of amateur and semi-professional. So we'll bounce back from this.
And believe it or not, the Any Given Monday lost a couple gigs that we had in the pipeline as well.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, there's so bit of a hit.
Yeah.
And it's like a place like, say, WBP, like West Brisbane Panthers. The blokes on the roster this year that may not be there next year. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. Things can change in 12 months. But what can you do? You
Not much you
prepare.
can do,
that's
eh?
right.
Because I don't know, they haven't officially cancelled it, but cross
It
your
doesn't
fingers
look
and
great. Doesn't look
hope,
great.
yeah, cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Did
If
Um,
not, I hope we're watching footy somewhere.
Nate's got a bit of a follow-up question
Oh,
here
yeah.
from his who was your best ever question. He also said, Adam Wright, what is the one thing you can handle a player not being great at?
Not being great at. You don't really, if you're not very good in an area, say, you got to know how to tackle if you want to play on your team. Because if they're running at you, they'll work it out that you can't tackle after a couple of misses. If you're not, say you don't have an offload in you, you can compensate that by being a good line runner, being a good defender, and pushing up. If passing isn't your grow, you're better off holding it, even if it's 2-on-1. If you're not confident you can get the ball to the bloke, die with it and go the last and go the next tackle. If it's last, do your best and just throw it. Things will come to blokes, but main thing, you gotta have ticker. You know what I mean? If you got ticker, you'll look to improve yourself. You look to get better. You got to love it because you're getting your head beat in every Saturday
That's
or
it.
Sunday or Friday night. Because if you don't love it, there's no
What's the
point in
point?
being there.
Yeah,
Just
what's
go
the point?
watch and support it.
That's
A lot of
it.
my mates, they love footy, and they always used to ask me why I played for so long. It gives you that adrenaline rush, being there, and
different,
that
eh?
buzz, things like that. So you can't. To me, you can develop skills, but you can't develop like a desire, wanting desire. That's mine.
DJ goes, Sinzler's talk about the NRL coming back. What is the best comeback? What is the best comeback game you'll ever see?
Or comeback points or a bloke playing a comeback game. Mine's Langer in that Origin in 2001 when he'd been playing Super League and they got him out and they needed to win and he dominated the
Killed
game.
it. Yeah, right.
And the thing was,
I-
they always tell a story. Originally, they wanted Jason Smith, but Hull wouldn't release him.
Yeah, right. Well, comeback for a player. It might not be a game, but I reckon Benji's comeback's been
Yeah, that's pretty full on.
pretty great.
Yeah,
from
'cause-
what he was, from when he went to Union to when he came back, jumped to a few clubs, to what he's doing
Hot
now.
and cold. Yeah, hot and
Fuck.
cold form.
Now he's 35 years old, and his first
Game
two
management.
games of the 2020 season were fucking incredible.
Yeah,
It's a pretty good comeback.
disappointing for him, but he said it's a hard thing. Some of these blokes may not play again, but there are a lot worse positions in life that you can be in, but so be it. What's next one there, Freddie? Got any more?
No, that's it. I
What-
think. Yeah, that's it for that.
Don't
I was
think
I was
I'm
going to
out
say with my comebacks, that's the reason I put that up this week because my favourite comebacks was the 2 weeks, the Newcastle and Parramatta for the for the
Doggies.
Bulldogs that year.
And-
That was unbelievable. I
And
thought.
that's the thing. Eventually, your luck's going to run out.
And then even also one that's recent was was when the Cowboys did it over the Bronx after the buzzer. That fucking sucked for me, but that was an awesome game that they came back
Being
and
at
won.
the game,
So.
I've been at that game. It looked like the defence was going to hold them. Like even when they got down there, if Thurston hadn't have bounced out of 3 tackles like he was playing offside touch.
Yeah.
And then
That's it.
got
And-
that ball to Morgan, who then throws the greatest flick pass you'll ever see.
And then what does Corey Oates do? Fucking shoot.
Bites in hard.
He
and
went to
shoots.
Dane Adams' fucking
He went to Dave Mayfield
tuition of-
Road and fucking shot.
tuition of shooting, and then
And eventually,
What a
'cause
weapon.
We were on the other side, and the way he put it down, I thought, is there something wrong with this? That looked too easy, the way he had enough time to plant the ball down, and then I looked at it and it was all sweet. And you would have bet your life that Thurston was going to kick that. Then to add to the theatre, he hits the sticks. See, that brings another thing back to me. You know, when they vote on Churchill Medal, he was the player that he wasn't the best player on the field. That was probably Milford.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't do what he did, they don't win. You know, and they gave him that where he would have felt embarrassed. But to me, if you were the best player on the field for 70 minutes but you've lost, you're still the best player on the field. To me, that's how I see it.
Yeah, well, that's how they gave it to Jack Whiten this year when everyone thought it should have gone to either Hardgraves or Tedesco. Jack Whiten wins it from a losing side, which is what the medal is all about. It's about the best player on the field. So
Man, he was great, Hargraves, and so was Whiten.
he was.
You know, different
Hargraves
sort of
was
thing.
great.
It's hard to compare. Like
Yeah, it
he
is.
looked like he's a bloke I feel for, Jack Whiten. He's really moving into the peak of his powers. His first 2 games, he was another bloke in red hot form.
100%.
And like the way he played that night, he kept him in that. Like they were the better side.
So what are we going to do? So, Roddy, you're going to choose a couple and then put it on a poll?
Yep. Well,
So,
Pick a-
and choose one, like go on KO and see which one
yeah,
that
they've
we
got
can
a
all
heap.
watch
Yeah,
it.
we'll pick that early in the week.
Yeah, we can break
Put
that
it on,
down next week.
Put it on our page, and I'll put it on my Facey.
Yeah.
See what everyone picks,
And then
we'll
also
get to watch it.
with next week we're going to reset his keen so we can sort out another chair over there.
He can sit behind the
Yes.
bar.
Yeah.
Strategically
Yeah, but
placed.
if Kedu can still come on, we'll get Reese Kedu on.
Yeah, we
Oh,
can get
Reece
him
Kettle,
sculling.
Yeah.
finally.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we got before you break it down, right, man, we got to mention our boys at Mates, MAAATS, merchandise.com.au. Get on Pornhub Premium, start blowing loads, not blowing your head off, and we can help each other out in this hard situation, you know. And then if you want even more enticement to blow your load, look at the guy that Tiger King used to fuck. It looks exactly like Dane.
Watch the Tiger King.
It looks
There'll be-
like Dano. It isn't.
There'll
No, let's
be,
clarify.
there'll be photos up later on this evening. Tell us what you think. Is there a resemblance? Who knows?
Yeah, you got anything else, Dano?
Nah, not from me, boys. Thanks for having me.
No,
again.
well, thanks for the skull, bro. You didn't even
Yeah.
touch on Buckets'
Yeah,
record.
I'm not
but-
even close.
That's
I'm
gonna
going to
be
go
s-
into training, but I'm going to start putting things down my throat. So
yeah.
it'll
Nice.
be good.
Sweet.
Just like the old Tiger King.
Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic down your throat. Break us
I'll
down.
get into that one.
Right.
Everyone, we say it every week. Stay strong. Always be there for each other. Doesn't hurt to reach out, touch base with friends and family because you don't know who's doing it real tough. Everyone's got pride. They don't want to have to tell you that they're not working and their bank balance is getting lower and lower every week. Everyone's hoping this will end. Stick together, but more importantly, be smart. You know, the isolation, it's not ideal. It's not the best, but it could be a lot worse. This will end at some point, and the quicker we stay nice and comfortable, the quicker that will happen.
I just want to say one thing before you finish it. Hopefully next week, guys, we're going to have a call in from Eric Groth Jr. and we're going to see how it's going down south as well.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then continue with that.
You look at it, the last place you'd want to be is New South Wales when you look at the amount of contaminated people at the moment. Everyone, stay strong, be there for each other, keep loving each other almost as much as Freddie loves Pornhub. And don't be a
stay at home hub, bro.
Yeah,
That's-
stay at home. Don't go out there. Don't be doing anything too stupid, and don't do any. If you're feeling sick, get to the doctor. Get yourself in isolation. Don't be a mercenary. Stay solid. It's a great game of rugby league. It'll be back, and so will its supporters. Bye for now. Look after yourselves, and we'll be back in a week.
Cheers, boys.
Oh, yeah, and also just make sure you bag us.
Yeah.
Like we asked for, like,
Legends.
tell us what you hate about this
There's
shit.
not much to bag on this show.
Yeah.
Mate,
See,
there is. There fucking is, especially
I
what
could
I
find
say.
some, yeah.
Just say some shit and totally rip us to shreds, I swear to God. We'd
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Obviously not Righty because he's fucking Joe Scully.
Thanks,
Second coming.
Thanks, everyone. Bye now.